Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Um, I'm Amy Prokopis. If you didn't know, if you're brand new to my channel, welcome. We are here to do some writing sprints. I will be working on Angel's book, which is my vampire romance. I promise I will have a title for you guys super soon. I'm having to slow down a little bit because I've got so many projects going right now that I've actually had to hit pause. I'm going to record a video for the start of Camp NaNoWriMo in July. I'm going to record a video where I not only do I announce what I'm working on for Camp NaNoWriMo, which is this book, Angel's book, but I also better lay out exactly what like the order of operations is for me in my publication timeline. So that's coming. But tonight we are working on Angel's book. What is everybody else working on? Anybody got anything new going on? Are we working on a new project this week? I think the last time most of us were working on the same things that we've been working on for a while. Jen is here, popping in to say hi. Got back from the cabin today, so I'm too exhausted to stick around and work. Hope everyone has a good stream. Thank you, Jen. Those can be long days. Travel days are brutal. Whew. Jessica says, hello, everybody. Yes, Jen's Weekend at the Lake sounds relaxing. If you do not follow Jen's Bookshelf, you don't follow her on YouTube or everywhere else in the social media realm. She vlogs like I do, and not only shares what she's writing, but also the books she's read. And when she shares the cabin, ooh, those are some cozy vlogs. So go follow her. I'm sure that there is a cabin vlog to come super, super soon. Jess says, I am working on social media posts for the week tonight. I did a lot of that earlier this afternoon. So I think mine is done. There are a few that I have to create. Those are images where I'm in them. So I need to take a day and dress up probably Tuesday, I think Tuesday, and actually do all of those. I also have a lot of video stuff this week since I am recording my Camp NaNoWriMo announcement. So, whew. Jessica says, hoping to finish draft 2 for camp this time. That's what I like about Camp NaNoWriMo. There's not that set goal that the organization, that the entire event sets for you. With the camps, which are in April and in July, you can set your own goals and they can be anything, which I really like. I appreciate that a lot. So this year for Camp NaNoWriMo, I am going to be writing the end of Angel's book. I'm hoping to finish that in the month of July. That way I can just do the publication stuff for all of my books and I can edit that project in the fall. And early fall especially is super busy for me at work. I am a school counselor and we're doing scheduling and just getting back into the school year with kids and adjusting and all of that. We do all of that in the fall. So if I don't have to heavily focus, that's nice. And editing is not, it's really detail oriented, but editing is a little easier to tackle for me than writing a whole book, even though I'd much rather write a whole book than edit. But hopefully we'll be able to do that and be done in camp. That way I don't have to worry about writing it in the fall. Dreaming Truth author is here. Hello, Felicia, right? I hope I said that right. Hi, working on of Mirrors and Shades. That sounds really cool. Psychological thriller with science fiction and fantasy elements. That sounds like my kind of book. I like the title of Mirror and Shades. That's really cool. Oh my goodness. Has anyone been reading anything interesting? I am in the middle of Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I'm not even sure how far into it I am. I ordered I ordered the hardback, the really pretty one with the sprayed edges. I ordered that and it should be coming in July. But for the time being, I downloaded the audiobook, and so I've been listening to that while I go on my runs and do all my other exercise. I have a whole new exercise regime going. That's also going to be a video. That'll be this Wednesday's video, actually, will be about the new uh, exercise challenge. So we're not going to be so writing focused with this week's Fun Wednesday video. Dreaming Truth. Felicia says, I've written 1,069 words for the day, so I'm going to lurk. Yes, that's correct. Okay, good. I didn't want to mispronounce your name. Thank you for that. Jessica says, just started, A Court of Thorn and Roses. That's a good series. That is also one that I did via audiobook. The audiobooks are really good, although I will say it was a little strange to get to some of those scenes, if you know what I mean, while I was out running or doing dishes. That was really strange. I remember I did have to turn it off at one point because when I was doing longer runs and it wasn't so hot outside, I would go with Finn, my toddler, and I'd push him in the stroller and we'd run to the park, which was a little over a mile there and back. And so I would do that run and we'd go to the park. And there were a couple of times when I had to actually turn off the audiobook because it was a little weird listening to that while there. But those are really good books. I've been getting into, Frida McFadden. I'm going to have to look that one up. Trying to rest since I threw it. Oh no, you threw out your back this morning. Ouch. Well, that's no good. Hopefully you'll be able to rest and you'll feel a lot better in the morning. I have like pulled muscles in my back. I actually pulled, speaking of running things, I was doing speed runs on the treadmill one time and I wasn't paying attention to my form and I pulled one of my lower lumbar muscles because I wasn't paying attention to my like the stride length of my leg, how far I was putting my legs out apart, and I pulled one. That was miserable. That was like a whole week recovery for me. So hopefully you'll be back and feeling a lot better in just a day or two. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. All right. So I will be working on Angel's book. Let me put in the comments because I am really proud of my progress this week. I tallied up how many words I've written for the entirety of the week till this point, and it's like almost 10,000 words for the week, which is great. I haven't had that good of a week in a long time, and I know it definitely helps that I'm on summertime, and so I haven't been working the same hours since we don't have kids and stuff. Everything I've been doing I can do from home, or I don't have to spend as much time actually in my office. So that is nice. So I was able to write a ton this week. So I am starting the stream. Starting sprint number 1 at 22,812 words. I'm feeling really good about that number. So let me stick that in our comment section. That way it was kind of nice last time to track it there. That way I could look back and see kind of my progression too. I also keep a little sticky note where I write it down for each sprint. It's just really motivating for me to keep track of that. So that's what I do. I keep track of it. Holy moly, I'm really excited to get started tonight. I left off at a super cute scene. My characters, we've gotten past the hook in the inciting incident and we're getting into a lot more of like the plot. We've passed the whole getting to know you big reveal section of the book, and now we're actually into let's develop a relationship together and move forward and figure out how to navigate this for the time being. And that's really fun. So I'm getting to do a lot of like really cute date scenes and small interactions, super fun. And so for tonight, I'm actually starting literally where they are on their way to a dinner date. So tonight will be really fun. It'll be a fun series of events to write. I am going to have to take a minute and kind of reread. I'm starting at chapter 8. So I'm going to have to reread a little starting from the beginning of this chapter just to kind of get into it. But really excited to get into it tonight. So we'll do that. I am listening to the playlist I've created for this book, but I think I might also, after listening to some of it, I think I may go through and listen to some of the suggested songs here on YouTube to see if they also fit, just for something different. And if they do, I'll add them to the playlist. But that's what I am doing. I have to write with noise. That can be white noise. If I write outside, I don't usually have music going. The outdoor elements is enough. But especially for this book, which is like very urban, it takes place in New York City. Having the music's really helpful. So I'll start that here in just a second. Let's bring up our timer. So we will do 3 sprints. They will each be 20 minutes. So we'll do 20 minutes, come back and talk a little bit. And we'll see where I end up. So I am starting at 22,812 words. Hopefully can get really far. And let's go ahead and move into the first sprint of the night, shall we? So good luck to all of you. I'm sure we can get a whole lot done. 3, 2, 1, sprint. All right. So I got a lot accomplished in sprint number 1. I wrote 326 words, which is really good for me for a first sprint. Usually it takes me a bit to settle in, like back into the story after I've been away a little while, but I got right into it, probably because we were starting at a brand new chapter. I think that helps a lot, starting at the beginning of a scene versus trying to pick it up in the middle. So good for me. I actually had to kind of stop the last couple minutes of that sprint because one, I knew it was about to end, but also I have to come up with the name of a restaurant. So, and this is a fancy restaurant. So if you have ideas, throw them at me. I'm looking at like French words, maybe even Italian words here in a little bit. It's going to be a fancy restaurant. This is New York City. So it seems like Italian would maybe make more sense. Um, I don't know. I don't know. What do we think? What do you guys think? Throw them at me. Throw all the words at me. If you've read Shade of the Shadowlands, which is the second book in my fantasy romance trilogy, it is the one Angel comes from. He's in that book. He's not a main character, but it sets up this kind of the storyline for his own series. So one, you know that Angel's a vampire, and two, you know, if you remember, it was a really small tidbit that Angel is from originally from Spain. So maybe that's something I can work into this. Although I'm trying to remember now if I've already stated that in this book. I may have already stated this in the book. Anyway, I'm rambling. How did everybody else do? I'll put that in the chat just so I have a record of it. In the first sprint, I wrote 326 words. All right. Okay, I'm trying to rest since oh wait, that was from earlier. Holy moly. My goodness. So, there we go. That's 326 for the stream. Yes, I have not written yet today. So, I am at 326 for the entire day. All right, 156 words. That is good. That's normally where I am with the first sprint of the night. When I do these live streams, I'm usually only like 100, maybe 200 words the first sprint around. Feeling pretty good about where sprint number 1 was for me. Jessica said, got one graphic made. It takes me a little while to create those graphics too, especially if I don't have a plan already in place for a lot of them. I use for my books, when I do my flat lays, which are the pictures of my books on my social media, I use BookBrush for that, which you do have to pay for to get access to. Actually, I think you can get a very, very small amount for free. I think I pay for one of the lower tiers, and it still gives you a lot. And that is how I do most of my flat lays. Some of them I take myself, but a lot of my social media that I plan out and do during the week when I do my one post a day, a lot of those are flat lays, and most of them come from BookBrush. Sometimes I will take an image from BookBrush, and that's one of them I have this week. Not for that'll be on Wednesday, I think. No, that already got posted. I used a combination of BookBrush and Canva because unless I'm not doing it right, I cannot find a way to incorporate 2 books into the mock-up. So into the images, when I generate them, it only generates for 1 book. It won't put 2 images in there, at least that I've been able to discover with what I have. Maybe if I paid for a higher tier, I could do that. But with the one I have, I haven't been able to find that. So what I did is I generated the flat lay with Guardians of the Sixth Gate, and then I uploaded that image to Canva, and Canva has the option to create, they have like what are those? Like the frames. You can put a frame around your picture, and some of those frames are things like a cell phone or a tablet. And I took that for Shade of the Shadowlands and made it a tablet, and I put that in there. So if you actually go look at my Instagram this week, I posted that picture. So I used both of those. So those are my by far the most handy resources I use for my social media and advertising is BookBrush because it looks the most professional and it's like one click and you're done. And also Canva because you can do a lot of that stuff from scratch in Canva. Love Canva. That's actually what I use to do a lot of my YouTube stuff. Also, I do videos even in Canva. Super great. Love that one. And I do pay for Canva Pro, although you can still get quite a bit for free on Canva. But if you pay for Canva Pro, anything with a that's on their Pro series, you'll see it because on the images they'll have like a little crown in the corner that'll say Pro. You can get those the licensing for those with that package if you pay for Canva Pro. So I use that a lot, those kinds of images. Yes, BookBrush is amazing. It is a little pricier, but I've used it enough that I definitely think I've gotten my use out of it. And I also love Canva. Canva Pro is awesome. I for sure have gotten my money out of Canva. That is for sure. So I will highly recommend going ahead and just getting Pro if you think you're going to do any kind of graphic design. And Canva is kind of like graphic design for dummies. I'm sure graphic designers everywhere are like, would like to reach through the screen and throttle me for that comment though, because what they do is very difficult on the professional scale and Canva does not come close. But for me and what I do with it, it's easy to use. So love that. Okay. Enough talk about social media-ing and those kinds of tips and tricks. I think I've actually recorded a video for YouTube where I talk about some of my must-have tools for self-publishing. When it comes to my marketing campaigns, that is for sure what I would recommend. If you're an author, I would definitely have Canva and BookBrush. Those are great. Good night. Sometimes you got to listen to your body and take a night off. I feel you. I took a night off from our normal live streams a couple weeks ago because I just wasn't it wasn't there. I was not feeling well. I was had kind of an allergy flare up and so I didn't sound great and I thought this is not the way this isn't I don't want to sound this way on camera. So I took the night off. So sometimes you have to take care of yourself. That's perfectly fine. All right. Let's see. Wow, it's only 9 o'clock. That sprint felt like it went incredibly fast. It was a normal amount of time, though. It wasn't like we moved it along. I guess normally I do talk for like 15 or 20 minutes, though, before we get started. So maybe we just moved in a lot quicker. I don't know. Maybe that's what it was. All right. Oh, let's see. I'm really, it's just blowing me away that I'm 23,000 words into this book. Holy moly. This book's going to come along really well. I can't believe I'm going to actually have, because I feel very confident that I will finish this book in July for camp. I cannot believe that I'm going to have 3 completed books to work for publication in the fall. That sounds crazy. It sounds doable, but also that's wild. Sheesh. I'm really excited about it. I've got super big plans, and I will say the more books I publish, the easier, not only the easier it gets, the publishing process, but also the quicker I get at writing them and the better I get. So that's also really fun. I'm glad for sure that I am an indie author and I'm self-publishing because if I was in the traditional world, I would not be able to publish this many books at once just because things in the traditional world take that much longer. So self-publishing, it has enabled me to publish on my own timeline and also publish as often as I want. And that I like. Woo, yes. I am super excited. Holy moly. I'll have the 2 books in the fall. So Mistress of Shadows, I'm getting ready to work with my editor on. Winter Witches, the winter book, the winter romance. That I want to do a little bit more editing with an editor. The cover, fun fact, I did the cover today. I got my character illustrations back and I decided I was going to do the cover myself for this one and incorporate the character illustrations because that is something I definitely can't do. So I actually finished the cover today. I just have to tweak some of the sizing. I'll have to tweak that as I find the official page count for the book. That's exciting. So for Winter Witches, I'm also planning to do kind of like a Christmas in July week. So the week of the 25th of July, I'm planning to release the cover, show you guys the cover for that, the official publication date, the updated book trailer. I'm planning to do a bunch of stuff that week in celebration. So that is where I am with that one. So that's the second book of the fall. And then Angel's book, which is this one I'm writing right now, I will start editing and prepping for publication in the fall while the first 2 are being published. So super fun. And that one I'm hoping to release early in the spring. And if I can actually get it completely written and get a really nice, solid first draft in July, then the chances of me being able to publish it in like January, February are really high. I would really like a February release date because it is more of a romance forward book. And it would be kind of fun to release it closer to Valentine's Day just to be able to really hype up and market the romance value. Being that month that everyone's looking for those kinds of things anyway, that would be my ideal situation. And then I have another book currently in the outlining phase that I don't think I'll be able to start writing until the spring or closer to the spring, but I'm really excited about that book. Oh my goodness. I've never written anything for the market. I just write what I want to. I've always written the books that I want to read. And this one is very much, it's a book I really want to write for sure, but it is definitely one that is going to be catered, or it's coming at a time when it's really marketable. So super excited about that. But I'm trying to keep it all inside because I don't want to start like talking too much about it because I think we're already getting confused about the 3 projects I have going right now. So I don't want to throw any more confusion into the mix. All right. Holy moly. I think I've talked long enough. I think maybe it's time that we move into our second sprint. I'm glad everyone was able to be really productive. It seems like some of us are taking kind of a self-care night though, and just relaxing and enjoying the company. I always adore all of you guys and the company that you give me on these Sunday night right nights. So thank you guys for that. Sometimes having some downtime is exactly what you need. So hopefully all of you are able to feel rejuvenated going into the week because we are starting a brand new week. All right. So our second sprint of the night is up. Timer's up. 20 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, 1, sprint. All right. Holy. Let me calculate how I did real quick. How did everybody else do? Did we have a nice second sprint for the stream? I don't think I wrote quite as many words. Oh, I did write a few more, actually. I wrote 349 words for sprint number 2. So that is better than the first one. I said, as we started, that I was at the beginning of chapter 8 and my characters were getting ready to go on a date. We have now arrived at the restaurant and are being seated, and all the cuteness is starting. Of course, there are like the pre-date jitters, when you first go out with somebody and you finally arrive, like you can actually sit down and start the date. That kind of tension is high, and that tension is my favorite. I love writing romantic tension. I don't know about you guys, but that is my favorite part to write, is characters just getting to know each other. I love that kind of like what do you call it? Coming of age kind of storyline where people doing things for the first time, discovering something new. I love that. So that is where I am in the chapter. Super fun. This will be really fun to watch back, this live stream eventually, after I have written this entire book, to see where I am. And I can remember, oh my gosh, that date, holy moly, and see how different it is or where it ends up leading. Who knows? Maybe this will be one of those like favorite moments of the book. I don't know. So far, I'm really enjoying it. It's the first proper date they've had. So it is kind of like not a monument. It is sort of a milestone in the book for them. Cute. How has everybody else done for our second sprint of the night? What do you guys like to write or read the most? What are your favorite moments? I write fantasy romance, so my favorite moment in a fantasy romance book is definitely that, like the one right after the first meeting, not the very first interaction, but when they meet the second time. Um, Usually either on a date or it's like the second time they run into each other. If you're talking about like a villain to romance, like a villain's um enemies to lovers. Oh my gosh. Holy moly. If you're talking like to like a enemies to lovers plot line where they start out kind of angsty and then they meet again and they have to they're forced to reconcile or deal with each other. It's that second interaction that I like the most, because the first one just establishes everybody and establishes the tension between the two. The second one actually deals in the tension. I like that part. When you actually are forced to be in the middle of it, that's the tension I like. Jessica says, currently making next week's graphics. Ooh, you've gotten a whole week done then. That's great. I love writing angry scenes, like the couples arguing. I also like that tension when they argue. I don't write them very often. I use them kind of sparingly in books, but there's a moment in Mistress of Shadows. So Mistress of Shadows is the final book in the Guardians of the Six Gate trilogy, and I have said several times, I think in these vlogs or these live streams and my vlogs, that Mistress of Shadows has a lot of romantic payoff. So in book 1, you have the two love interests and there's this will they won't they plot line. And then in book 2, they're not together in book 2, and Jamie is attempting to move on because Tori has rejected him, right? And so there is this like longing to be together, but this other force keeping them apart. And then book 3, is like about the reconciliation. And so the romantic payoff is huge. It's definitely slow burn. And there's a moment where where they duke it out about their flaws, which are somewhat the same flaws, which ends up being kind of a funny interaction. They're basically yelling at each other for things that annoy them about each other, but they're the things that annoy them about each other because they're very similar people. And it turns into a really funny argument that basically culminates in like, there's really nothing to argue about because we both do the exact same things. It's kind of a cute moment. It's a big turning point in the book. So I'm getting into territory where I'm giving away a lot, but I also like to write the arguments because typically they are the turning point of the book. They are like a big moment, usually for the couple, or I use them as such. Because if you're arguing for any other reason, usually, I mean, in real life, this is getting into like my psychology background. If you're arguing for any other reason like that, it's usually a problem. It's not a productive thing. If that makes any sense. Holy moly. Yeesh. Now I'm kind of things are getting away from me. Maybe it's time that we jump back into the sprints. My brain is fully engaged in this book. It's going so well. I cannot wait to start releasing more information about this. This is how far ahead I am in my publication timeline. If you are a Patreon member, I am getting ready to put out information about my publication timeline. I have put together, I don't have very pretty organizational things to share as far as my publication journey, all of my planning documents, like the bookkeeping side of things, all of that admin stuff does not look really pretty visually. And I decided, well, maybe I just need to make it look pretty for the sake of sharing what I want to share. And that's what I'm going to do. So if you are a Patreon member, in maybe next week, you will get my publication timeline for the rest of 2023 and into 2024. That is the plan, to share that with you guys. So you guys will not only see all of my rough publication, official like release dates for books, but you guys will also see the titles, the working titles, mind you, of some of my upcoming projects. So fun things. Patreon is definitely a place where I just kind of dump some of that stuff for funsies. So it's always loose. They're never official, but I think it's fun to share that process and how I get from point A to like a finished project. And that's definitely what Patreon is for me. So fun things. All right. Let's see. I wrote 349 words in sprint. Oopsie. Number 2. And I will be starting our final sprint number 3, at 23,000. Woo, that's a big number. 487 words. Wow, guys. Holy moly. I say that a lot. That's starting to become, I don't know, like a phrase. If it was a drinking game, we'd all be gone at this point. Okay. I think it still feels like we haven't been together very long talking. Maybe I'm just really that engaged in this book. So I did finally pick a name for the restaurant for funsies. I know when I started sprint number 2, I told you guys if you had any suggestions, send them my way. I was looking at like a French style restaurant, maybe an Italian restaurant. Kind of looked a little at maybe Spanish cuisine because I thought it would lead into a conversation about how Angel's originally from Spain, but I looked it up and that's already been established in the book, so no need for that. So I did decide on French. So I just started playing around with words and thinking about things that might be kind of like fresh and trendy. And I picked it means the fairy in English. It's La Fille, I think. I'm French is not a language I am very well versed in. I am decent at picking up languages because I have a background of that. I have an English degree, but I also have a German minor. So I do speak two languages. Um, but French is not from the same branch that German and English are from. So I don't do well with the pronunciation. But it looks like La Fille to me, and it means the fairy. And that is what I have named the restaurant. So, fun fact. Let's go ahead and move into let's go ahead and move into sprint number 3 because I'm starting to I love this book so much that I want to talk about it. So now I'm starting to talk too much about it. So, I will be starting the third sprint and the final sprint of the night at 23,487 words. Don't know where I got 800 from. So that is where I will be picking up from. Let's get our timer up here. Oh, I always get this backwards. There we go. 20 minutes on the clock. Last sprint of the night, and we will kind of wrap up a little bit. If I didn't have something to do in the morning, I'd stay up later. I may stay up a little later just to finish on my own, but not so much in the sprint or in the stream. So 20 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, 1, sprint. Whew. Okay. I was right in the middle of a sentence. Holy moly. I'm tempted to finish it. So I don't think I wrote nearly as much in that sprint. I think maybe 300-ish words. I know it's not much. Let me see. I got to 2,300. So 23,880 words for the entire day. That's where I am. I wrote, oh man, my math must not be good because I actually wrote more that sprint. I wrote 393 words. Yeesh. You'd think I'd get better at that as the night went. So they're fully into the date. That is where I am in my chapter. How did everybody else do? I am up to 1,068 words for the entire stream. That's great. So I'm going to put that here in the chat for funsies. During tonight's live stream. Fun. Whoops. Alrighty. Whew. I have gotten quite a bit done, so I can delete that. This is the only bit of writing I have done today. So my goal when I am drafting is to try to write 1,000 words a night. That does not always happen if I'm drafting during the middle of the school year, though. Usually I try to plan everything out during the year in my publication lineup. I try to plan it all out so that I have blocks like a month at a time, and I try to draft during the month. I challenge myself to write a book in a month. Depending on the book, that does not always happen. Like Mistress of Shadows ended up quite a bit longer, so that did not get drafted in a month, but I try to fast draft that way just so it's easier for me to get the entire story down or the bulk of it in the amount of time that I really have to devote to it. So that's usually the way that I work. So having Camp NaNoWriMo to devote to this project is ideal because if it drifts into the fall, I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to get a lot done. So when I am drafting, back to the word count, which is what we were talking about. When I'm drafting like this, I try to get about 1,000 words a day. Usually I'm able to get a little more than that though. And if I don't get 1,000 words a day, I usually will have a day where I get 2,000 or more. So it evens out, but I challenge myself to shoot for 1,000 a day. That way I can try my best to keep on track. So if I do take a day off, I usually am good, but it works out to be 1,000 words a day most of the time. Thank you. Thank you, guys. It is a lot of work, but it's fun. What I usually tell people is if you want something enough, you usually figure out how to make it happen. Even if it's little by little, you can figure out how to make it work. So thank you guys for that. That's what I like about these live streams is it's nice to have a community of people encouraging each other. I feel like we do that really well here. I'm so thankful for you guys, especially those of you who are here every single week, working alongside me every single week. I am super thankful for you guys, and I cannot wait to see the success that you guys have also. So be sure to share that with me. Definitely comment on my videos or tell me in these weekly streams so that we can all celebrate together, because I want to see all of your books come out because I've heard enough about them and I get excited. So I cannot wait to see where all of your projects go to. That's what that's one thing I really like about writing is even if you write in the same genre as somebody, there's no competition. It's not like a lot of other workplaces where if you do a really good job and your coworker does a really good job, you eventually could compete for the same promotion. It's not really like that in the writing world because our readers typically are some of the same people. And so it's all just one big family is not the right word, but we all like a lot of the same things. And so that's really all it's about is writing stuff people enjoy and writing things that we enjoy. So I love it. Huh. I love the book community. Huh. Okay. So that was our last sprint of the night. I will probably write a little while longer. I think I'm actually going to transition and move from our live stream room to a different room where I typically write. A lot of times in the vlogs, you'll see me in the den, which is where I do a lot of my writing. I think I'm going to move my setup over there, maybe write a little bit more, and then kind of wind down for the night because I do have some plans in the morning, not too many, but some things that I need to prep for or can't stay too late, can't stay up too late writing, or else I won't be quite as productive in the morning for those things. So I think this is where I leave you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys are amazing. It was super fun I love these live streams. It's super fun to write with you guys every week and share my journey with you guys and all of my projects. I mean, I'm excited about them. It's just really fun to share my excitement with others, especially when other people are also interested in the same things that I write. That's really fun. So, thank you guys. Uh, this week's a big week. Wednesday, I'm releasing not so much a writing related video, but Wednesday is all about the um, strength training program I have been doing this month. So that'll be a fun one. This week's vlog will be especially interesting though, because it is the week before. It's a lot of prep week. It's a prep week into Camp NaNoWriMo, and I am prepping for an extra video because I'm planning to release an extra video next week about Camp NaNoWriMo. So there's a lot of work to be done this week. So the vlog will be stuffed with information and all the fun projects that I'm doing. So it'll be a good week. It'll be fun. So be on the lookout. Make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube. Follow all of my social media. That stuff's linked below because really exciting things are coming. I'm working on 3 different projects right now. There's a lot coming, guys. So thank you for following along and writing with me tonight. Make sure to share what you're working on below, drop any links so that we can all find you guys and your projects. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.